on right now, so be quiet. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Deborah Jones. I'm your Blue Table Talk host. How you doing this afternoon? Happy New Year to everyone that I haven't seen, I haven't talked to. And so tonight we will have on our platform a young lady who used to live here in Beaumont, Texas, but she left here and started her career somewhere else. But she'll tell you more about it when we get there, when we get to her. So also I'm trying to see someone that's trying to come in, and I don't have but one guest. But okay, never mind. Anyway, so let's do some housekeeping tonight. And so, we I always talk about the COVID testing. Don't forget, but please, everybody, please get testing for COVID. And COVID is spreading so wide here, just right here in Beaumont, Texas. So we're spreading, and it has a high rate of COVID patients. Beaumont Baptist Hospital now just opened up a new unit. They have the Baptist Hospital medical mobile, which is not for COVID patients, it's for regular patients, so they can come in and go out, because right now their hospital is full with COVID patients. So let's get COVID testing, and if you need your COVID shot, pretty soon they're going to give it to people who are 65 and over that has underlying illness. Also for children who are 16 and over who has underlying illness. So let's go and get tested for our vaccine. You can get tested at Beaumont Urgent Care on Major Drive. Also, you can go to Beaumont Emergency over on College Street. It's on the interstate, College and the interstate. You can also go to MD Kids Pediatrics, 490 I-10 North Frontage Road, Suite 100, right here in Beaumont, Texas. They're open on Mondays through Friday from 8 to 6, on Saturdays from 10 to 12. And you can go to CVS, and those are rapid testing. You can also go to CVS and do your own testing over there. Your results doesn't come back in for a couple of days. So let's make sure that whoever they take your insurance. If not, I'm sure there's like $150 pay up front. But let's go get tested for whatever we need. Because this COVID is not getting any better; it's getting worse. You have to wear your mask. You have to do those 3 W's, like we always say: wear your mask, wash your hands, and keep your distance from other people. And definitely keep your distance. I know people like to buck up on you when they're in the grocery store or anywhere out in public. And just like some kind to just step back a few feet, and that you're trying to keep yourself safe from COVID. Okay. So tonight, like I said, we have with us Jerutha Lisa Expose. Let me read her bio for just a few minutes. Then put on some glasses. I know y'all probably say, "Who was that lady on there?" Yeah, I used to be looking like this, but let me go ahead and put my glasses on. So I said, Ms. Jerutha Expose joined AEPS in 2019 as the Director of Proposals and Business Development, BD, daily. She researches potential contract opportunities and viable teaming partners in support of the company's BD growth and sustainability. Ms. Expose brings over 13 years of experience in BD, to include proposal management and technical writing of proposals and grants for federal, state, and local and commercial customers. Throughout her BD career, she has supported various industries to include unarmed securities, facilities maintenance, healthcare talent acquisition, information technology, human resources, and background investigations. A graduate of Lamar University in Beaumont, Texas, she holds a BS in political science and a master's of public administration. Ms. Expose has completed managing and writing federal proposals, Shipley, labor regulations for government contractors, and opportunity to capture, proposing to win, Public Contracting Institute, training courses and is a current APMP member. Ms. Expose enjoys helping others and has mentored several young professionals in the BD industry, enabling them to become senior managers and writers. On a personal note, she enjoys spending time with her family and close friends, as well as traveling the world to experience different cultures. Well, I bet you're not traveling right now.
No, ma'am.
You got to experience your cultures at the house.
Exactly.
Okay, how you doing, Mr. Ruth Expose?
I'm doing well. Good evening, everybody. How are you doing?
I know y'all saying, why she won't show her face? She chicken. That's what she's chicken. That's my girl. I love her to death. Yes.
I love you too.
Miss Expose. I know you lived in Beaumont, Texas, and you started your career here in Beaumont, Texas. First of all, you were educator at Smith High School, middle school, right?
Yes, ma'am, middle school.
Okay, so what happened? Why did you just leave and go to somewhere else?
Okay, first let me start off by saying there is nothing wrong with being a school teacher. You just have to have the passion to be a teacher. And that goes for any other job. There are lots of good jobs out there. There are positions and careers that, a lot of times people aren't excited about or interested in doing, and it makes a big difference. So I don't downplay any other professions. I just knew that, unfortunately for me, teaching was not my calling. So, as you know, being in Beaumont, I have family there. I have a lot of wonderful friends there, but it just did not have enough diverse industry there for me to figure out what I wanted to do in life. And I was not happy with the types of work that I was able to find. Teaching was not my first choice, but I knew it was what I could do, and I knew it was a way to support myself and to be able to provide a roof over my head for my son. So I did it. I worked at Homer Elementary, Vincent Middle School, and also at Smith Middle School. And collectively, I have about 10 years experience teaching. And I also worked as an adjunct professor of political science at Lamar for 1 year. And I worked as an academic counselor at Lamar. But again, it was not my passion. At first, I wanted to be a lawyer. But unfortunately, when I started college, like a lot of us do, not everybody, but some of us, we kind of goof off. And the goof off for me was not going to parties or anything, because I was a young mother. The goof off for me was reserving a room in the library, going into the room with my headphones. A lot of you if there's younger people on the call, they may not know what headphones are, but we'd have those. I had a yellow and black cassette player with headphones, and I would go to the library with that, and I would sit in there. I'd skip class, and I would sit in there and I would listen to music and read magazines instead of going to class, and my grades reflected that. So by the time I grew up and realized that I needed to finish school, my GPA, I was told, wasn't high enough for me to pursue law school. So I opted for a master's degree in public administration. And I have no regrets on that. Finished the MPA. Still, the only thing I could find to do in Beaumont was teach school. I had applied for the FBI, the CIA, just about every government agency you could think of, but I was never interviewed, never picked up or anything. What made me move to DC, I visited there one summer, fell in love with the area, and I was like, I just have to go back. So as my son finished up his college career, I started making way to move to the DC area. And that's how I ended up in DC.
So you really didn't have any aspirations of moving to DC. You did have aspirations of moving to DC, and you just up and moved without any. Well, I was just saying, okay, I'm gonna stop here and then I'm gonna move over to DC. You just got up and left.
I knew. So one thing people have to understand about me is that I'm adventurous, and I had taken a lot of cruises in the Caribbean, and this is going to seem very extreme, but one one part of me was like, if I have to be a teacher, I'll look for a job in the Caribbean, St. Thomas, um, or any of the other U.S. territories out there, and I'll teach there. Or I was going to do the teach abroad over in Abu Dhabi, or there were some positions in Singapore that were open. So I explored those. The other option was to go to DC. When I visited there in 2011, like I said, I really enjoyed the area, and it was nice to see so many professional people, coming and going to work and so forth. And so I was excited to go there. So I just started putting my plan into motion, saving money so that I would be able to make the move and sustain myself as I looked for work.
So when you went to DC, did you get your government job right off or what?
No, ma'am. So when I got there, I was actually living in Annapolis, Maryland first. And the reason why I was in Annapolis, Maryland is because a guy that I went to high school with, he had reached out to me, I think via Facebook when my dad died, and we just kind of struck up a conversation there. And I realized he was in the DC area, and told him I was trying to move out that way. And he was like, oh, I have somebody I think that's looking for a roommate. And so that's how I ended up in Annapolis, Maryland. I did not have that fabulous government job. I went there with the promise of a roommate, and I had a job interview at a temp agency. That was it. That was all that I had. So I bought a one-way plane ticket, packed, I think, 2 suitcases and 4 boxes. And I put the 4 boxes under the plane and took the 2 suitcases on the plane with me, and landed in Baltimore. And that's how I got my start there.
So you had no way of saying I'm going back home because you bought that one-way ticket.
Exactly. I had sold my car, only had a one-way ticket, and I had packed up the rest of I was living in a townhouse at the time, and I packed up majority of my things before I left because I knew in my mind that I was not going to come back. The only thing I was going to do was return to Beaumont, clean out my townhouse, and leave. So it wasn't, for me, my mind was made up, and it wasn't an option to return.
So from there, you went to Maryland. You say you received a part-time job over there?
Yes. So yes, ma'am.
You left a full-time job in Beaumont, Texas, making X amount of money, and you always, because I know I'm from DC, so I know DC is expensive. All the way to DC with a part-time job.
Exactly. So when I worked as a teacher, I used to teach summer school.
Right.
And I would always take my summer school money and, pay off a bill, take a vacation, go on a shopping spree, and save a little bit of money. I would do that basically every year. And I want to say the last 3 years that I taught school, I did not spend summer school. I did not spend the money. I saved the money in addition to my regular savings that I was making throughout my regular salary. And I managed to save up, several $1,000s to make the move. But as you said, the DMV area, and a lot of times it's called DMV, DC, Maryland, Virginia.
Right.
And the entire area is expensive. And even though I had, I want to say it was close to maybe $15,000, $16,000, that was only going to last me just a few months. That was only going to last a few months up there. So anyway, I had a job interview at a temp agency just to get on their call list to be sent out to their clients and do the work. So that wasn't permanent. I got a job at JCPenney and Forever 21. I hated them both. And but I knew that I could not just sit around and wait for work.
You had to eat.
I had to keep working. I had to keep working. And so I worked full time it wasn't full time. I want to say I may have gotten about 35 hours at JCPenney and about 20 hours at Forever 21. And what I used to do, God forgive me, but I told JCPenney that I worked at Forever 21 on the weekends. And
Right.
I told Forever 21 that I worked at JCPenney on the weekends. So neither of them scheduled me for Saturday and Sunday. So I still had my weekends off.
Right.
But I had very long days. I was working Monday through Friday from about 8 a.m. until about 9 or 10 at night. And that lasted for about 7 weeks. And it was during the Christmas season, during Thanksgiving, Christmas, because I moved up there Veterans Day. And I was not prepared for Black Friday.
Okay.
And people are so rude to retail workers. People are so rude to custodians. And, for those of you that are doing that type of work, that as well as
Okay, Jerutha, you left me. Okay, so now you know that she was in the DC area, and she moved from Beaumont. Like I said, she was educated here in Beaumont. She worked at Lamar University. She worked here in Beaumont at Smith Middle School, and then she moved here from there. She moved to DC area. But I'm trying to get to the part where she's working now. So, because we have our journey of what we do, and so how far we go in life. But I know Rosalie, you can't hear because she froze. Okay, so I have to contact her and let her know that she froze. And hello, Jerutha. Okay, she went out, so she gonna have to come back in. Her internet must have messed up. But while she's working herself back in, while she's working herself back in, she, like I said, she has family here in Beaumont, and then she's originally from, let me see, I think Mississippi. So, but they moved here when they were real young. I know her because we went to church together, and of course I'm gonna say this because my girlfriend and Cheryl always say they always call me niece. Okay, she's coming back in, and she's my niece, Cheryl.
Sorry about that. I don't know what happened with the internet, so I don't know.
No problem. If we'd have seen your face, maybe we could have told you. You're gonna know. Okay, so I was trying to bring them up to your part where you are after you work from JCPenney's, you went somewhere else and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so continue.
Yes, ma'am. So I was at the Board of Elections for the gubernatorial race of 2014. It was contract temporary work. So I was there for maybe about 10 months. No benefits. I think it was $12.50 an hour. So, it wasn't the best, but again, I still had my little nest egg that I had to keep dipping into. But I was determined that I was not going back to Beaumont, and nothing against Beaumont. I love my family and my friends there, but it was not the place for me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just stayed, prayed up. I found a church. I started making friends, and I moved from that position to an office manager position. Then I was a background investigator. I worked at a nonprofit organization. So I did quite a bit of different jobs up there until I finally found the career path where I'm at today. And
that's what we're gonna land on, what you're doing right now. So I see in your bio you have you joined AEPS. What are those acronyms for?
So the name of the company is American Eagle Protective Services Corporation. Mm-hmm. We do physical security for federal buildings, state government buildings, and also commercial properties. We also do facilities maintenance, which is your HVAC, your plumbing, and so forth. as well as custodial work. The majority of our portfolio is with physical security. So we have security guards that are armed with a weapon, and we have some guards that are unarmed. It just depends on what the contract requirement is.
With the weapon, and you are you talking about like a gun or a flashlight?
A gun. A gun. So they have guns, they have OC spray, they have the expandable baton. And so with each contract, you not only have to abide by whatever the government standards are, but the federal government standards are, but you also have to abide by whatever state and local rules and regulations that are applicable to those positions as well.
So when you left the DC area, were you involved with where you're working with now? Was that in the DC area also?
Yes, so my company is based in Texas, and I'm still doing the same work. Even before COVID broke out with the outbreak, I know a lot of people unfortunately were affected by that, and my heart goes out to them. But my position, I started out as a director with them in 2019, and I was already a remote employee. So it did not impact my work in any aspect of that way.
So if I'm not mistaken, somewhere I read that your company is owned by a lady.
Yes, so it's a woman-owned business. And for those of you that might be interested in getting into government contracting, the government does a lot of what they call set-aside competitions. And so a set-aside competition basically means that they are advertising work to small businesses, whether it's a woman-owned business, whether it's a minority-owned business, or just a small business, or it could be a service-disabled, veteran-owned business. So if you've got some military career under your belt, and if you want to start your own business, a good customer for you to have would be the federal government. Basically, what I do, and the easiest way for me to explain it is this: I basically look for jobs that my company can do, which is the contract with the federal government or with whatever entity we're pursuing. And the government puts out what's called a request for a proposal. And so they send you this huge packet of instructions that they want you to follow and abide by and develop a response to. And so what my team and I do is basically develop kind of like a very long cover letter and resume, telling them what we can do, how we do it, provide them references of how successful we've been on it, and we submit that. And so once the government makes the decision as to who wins, then we're issued a contract, and that's how the company makes the money. So we hire people to work at these government facilities, but they're our employees, they're not government employees.
So do you reside in Beaumont? In a business?
So you can do this work from any location.
Okay.
But I would say that the majority of the positions are in the Washington, D.C. area.
Out there.
Ma'am?
I just play it. Go ahead.
There are also some positions in Houston, Texas,
okay,
as well as the Dallas-Fort Worth metro area. But the bulk of the work is in the D.C. area. There are some remote positions that you can apply for, but they come few and far in between. It just depends on the company. And how I got into it is this way, because I know we kind of skipped around a little bit.
Right.
But when I was in graduate school, I worked as, when I was in graduate school, one of my classes required us to write federal grants. That was some of our assignments.
Okay.
And when I did that, I was like, oh, this is cool. It's easy. You just follow instructions. You write straight to the point. That's it. And I never considered it as a full-time position at that time, because again, in Beaumont, that's not something we really think about doing. Grant
Right.
writing,
Right.
federal contracting. And it's not that we don't know better, it's just not what we're exposed to. So when I was, looking for work, again, trying to better myself, when I saw positions that were like wanting people with experience with grant writing or technical writing, and I'm like, I've done that. I'm like, I've done the grant writing in college, and then as a school teacher, you do technical writing every time you write your lesson plans.
Right.
It's straight to the point. If you've ever written a test before, that's technical writing. And so that's how I was able to get interviews and eventually get jobs, starting out as a writer, a coordinator, moving up to manager, and now, thanks, praises to God, director. And hopefully, one day I'll be able to advance to a VP level. But that's many years down the line. So
you never know, though. You never know.
Exactly. I'm not discounting it. I just know that it's going to be, a few more years down the line before I could even consider applying for, those types of positions. But, that's how I got into it. And, fortunately, somebody was willing to take a chance on the experience that I did have and build on it. And so that's how I was able to, get to this position. In the DMV area, I will say that there's a lot of head hunting. So if you're on a professional website like LinkedIn, which I would encourage anyone that's looking to make a career change or to relocate, I would recommend you creating a LinkedIn profile and start networking with the people in the areas that you wish to reside in, or network with the people in the industries that you wish to get into. And so once you start doing that, and you get your name out there, you'll see recruiters all of the time that are asking you, hey, I have this proposal manager position. Are you interested? I have this proposal writer position. Are you interested? And they will hunt you down, weekly,
Right.
offering you positions. So it's a very lucrative career. The pay is very good, but you also have to have a lot of discipline to do this type of work.
Okay, so you said to do that type of work, you have to be military. Did I understand that right?
Oh, no, ma'am. I was saying that if you wanted to open your own business and do federal contracting with the government, if you have experience being in the military, then you can open up what they call, or establish what they call, a veteran-owned small business, meaning you're a vet, you're a small business, and then if you're also a woman, then you are a woman veteran-owned small business. So that's 3 classifications you can claim.
Okay, so not to cut you off, so in that, and what if you weren't the vet, but your husband was the vet, or you were the vet, but your wife was the vet? Could that other person open the business also under there, because they're the best spouse?
So a lot of what I see in the DC area, there are a lot of woman-owned small businesses that are in the wife's name, but ran by the husband. So, and there's also businesses that I've seen where the spouse was the veteran. So it's a veteran-owned business, but it's ran by the non-vet. So, people use that to their advantages. I would just recommend that you be careful with doing it.
Because they check on you.
Exactly.
Right. I know that part. I know that about the government.
Exactly.
Yes, ma'am. They will check on you because you're using their money. Right? Okay. Yeah, I know that.
Exactly.
How is it? Because I know you do grant writing. I know you do other federal stuff. So do y'all teach other people grant writing or what?
So I don't teach the skill, but there are different tutorials out there that people can sign up for webinar classes. Some of the classes are free. Some of them you have to pay, and I will admit the ones that you have to pay for are pretty expensive. One of the biggest training tools is provided by Shipley. It's spelled like the donut place.
Right. Okay.
So you can go online to Shipley Wins, WINS, shipleywins.com. And let's see, I'm going to put this in the chat thing.
I'll give you make a banner of it.
Okay.
It was, let me see.
Shipleywins.com. And they have some online.
WINN?
Ma'am?
WINN?
No, ma'am. WINS.com. So it's Shipley, like the donut place, SHIPLEY.
Oh man, put it for my name. Let me get that over. Hold up. Okay.
I sent it through the chat. I don't know if you see it.
Oh, no, I don't see it. Hold on. That's because I got off of it. There you go.
Okay.
All right.
So Shipley has a lot of training tools. They have books that you can read. There are free webinars on their website as well as on YouTube. And then there's also courses that they provide that you have to pay for. I think a 3-day writing workshop with them is about $1,400.
Days?
Ma'am?
You say for 3 days?
For 3 days. And honestly, when I took the course,
I better learn how to write something.
I know, right? Honestly, when I took the course, I did not get much out of it because, in my opinion, the facilitator that I had did not, there were a lot of entry-level people in there that had no experience.
Right.
And so the facilitator, me coming from being a teacher, I know you have to start with a blank slate and build up with that. And he didn't do that. And I felt that because he didn't do that, he missed a big part of the students, helping the students. So I would recommend to anyone, if they're interested in doing this type of career, to see what's available out there for free before you pay for a course. A lot of the employers want to see candidates, potential job candidates that have Shipley training. But again, that's something you can do down the line. You can learn a lot just going online and viewing the free information they have. Really,
it's a lot of research in grant writing, right?
Yes, ma'am. So if you think about your worst college research paper, where I don't know what other academics did, but in political science, we would have to, in undergrad, I think my research papers were about 20 pages long in undergrad for political science, and my minor was history.
Mm-hmm.
And then in graduate school, the research papers grew to 25 to 30 pages.
Right.
So if you think about all of the research that you had to do for those papers and the writing that was involved in that, that's basically what you're doing with this type of job that I have.
Right. Wait a minute, Jerutha. Not to cut you off, but viewers, I'm sorry. I meant to tell you guys to don't forget to share, because there are a lot of people that would love to listen to Miss expose and her career journey. So just hit that share button. It's not gonna cost you a dime. Just tap of that finger, hit that share button. Okay, I'm sorry.
Oh no, it's fine. and so that's when I got into business development full time. That's what I was doing, the writing aspect of it. Mm-hmm. Now, in my current role, I still have to do some writing. It's not as much as I used to.
Right.
Now I'm more charged with finding business partners so that we can have someone to team with as well as finding opportunities that we can pursue and go after.
So what is your title right now?
Director of Proposals and Business Development.
Okay, good, good. So I know I went on that website, on your website, and I did see that there was some training going on if they want to get into your department or any department that, you know, in your line of work. Am I right or what?
So on our website, we have a training, online training system for the security guards.
Oh, okay.
So it's not related to the business development side. It's for the security guards to go in and do some of their mandatory trainings that aren't done in person.
Okay. 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 So that's work side of it. If they're already a security guard, right? And
Yes, ma'am.
okay. So
Mhm.
okay. So is there anything that that you guys could teach? I mean, we have a lot of people here in Beaumont that would love to just reach out, but right now, right now, since we do have COVID and COVID is everywhere, they're high in the big states and everywhere. Washington D.C. is high out there, so they're kind of standing still right now. Everybody's trying to stay still, and so this is not going to happen always. This too shall pass, but how can they get into your business itself? And besides, you know, I know they have to send in a resume, but they want the training first. They want some of that training, and then they'll consider the resume, LinkedIn, or whatever it is.
Mhm.
How can they do that?
So I would recommend, I did a lot of volunteering also. So some of the people that I networked with on LinkedIn, I started interacting with them via direct message, sometimes telephone calls, sometimes emails before I left Beaumont. And so I started building those relationships before I got there. And then when I got there, everyone was excited. Oh, you're here. You know, let's meet up at Starbucks. Let's do this, do that. And so what I did was I started contracting myself out to the people that I had networked with. Sometimes it was a volunteer basis. Sometimes it was paid. Since I personally knew that I didn't know what I was doing, I wasn't charging a high premium. I was only charging like $25 an hour. But a proposal writer can make a salary of about $60,000 a year plus, depending on the size of the business that you're with, whether it's a small business or a large business. A proposal manager can make anywhere from about $80,000 to $130,000. Again, depending on the size of the business, whether it's a small business or large. And also, IT companies tend to pay more.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are interested in the technical writing, you may not be a subject matter expert on that company's core work requirements. So if it's an IT company, you may not know anything about how to do computer repair or how to do troubleshoot networking and so forth. You may not know how to do that, but you can learn. You can interview people that do that type of work, take notes on that, and use that information to develop it into basically how-to manual, how to do something. And the same goes for any other industry.
Yeah.
Like you read in my bio, I did some work for a company that they were recruiters for healthcare professionals. I didn't know anything about nursing, but I interviewed nurses to see what some of their processes were so that I can understand what a nurse's credentials needed to be and what some of their processes were. And I took that information and turned it into technical writing pieces. So be prepared to interview people so that you can develop those skills. And as you start practicing with your writing, think about it this way. It's not about the fluff. So you're not writing something to me to make me feel happy. What you're doing is you're writing to that customer to say, we know how to do it. This is how we do it. And here are our success stories on how well we've done it before. So it's
Mhm.
like just writing a very detailed, elaborate resume without all of the, on a, on a bright sunny day, my company does, you know, we make sure that we sweep the floors with the best technique, and we buff, we don't need the on the bright sunny day part. We just need to get straight to the point as to how we do it, why we're good at it, and success stories.
Right, right. I know that I don't want to stay idle. I don't want to stay. I've always been a hyper person. I got to do this, got to do that, and got to get it going. Whatever. I'm a yesterday. Have everything had been done yesterday. So I'm always looking for something to do, and I know that I'm gonna have to look for something as far as another some type of business portion because my friend Marcus on here always tell me I've got to have a business because Uncle Sam's eat me up at the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
He chew me up and spits me out at the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Taxes. So I know that there's something I'm gonna have to do and have to do it fast. But
Mm-hmm.
that's why I'm always talking to people. Okay, you know how to do grant writing, this and that. You know me. I even talk to you about it. And
Yes,
so, but I know there's something I need to do, and I'm gonna have to get on it fast. I just don't know what.
I understand completely, and with this type of work, you have to be very disciplined. It's very deadline driven, just like with any job,
Right.
But the thing about it is there's no exceptions. So if you miss the deadline, the government is not going to say, oh, well, it's okay. You're 5 minutes late. We'll go ahead and take it. There are no exceptions. It's deadlines like with every other position.
Right.
But no exceptions. You have to meet whatever deadline they give you.
So what's the favorite part of your job?
I love my job.
Say that one more time.
I love my job, and I am.
There's not too many people who say that.
Yes, ma'am. I am so grateful, and it's all because of God. I am so grateful for the job that I have, the career that I have. Every day is not the best. There are days when I get frustrated, just like with any of you out there that are working. We all go through challenges and get frustrated. But overall, I love what I do. As goofy as I am, I've always been somewhat of a nerd.
Really?
A geek. And a lot of people don't see that side of me, but I'm a person that has many different sides. I'm multifaceted. And so, the geek side of me loves the fact that, the work is very, it's very detail oriented. So the government, they'll send out what their requirements are in this request for a proposal, or as we call it, an RFP. And it could be 20 pages long. It could be 200 pages long. It could be 1,000 pages long. Do I memorize that? No. I have to sit there and read it and understand it and be able to reference it, just like you did when you were in school. You had to reference certain sections of a book so that you could prepare for a test. And so that's basically what I'm doing. And it's always something new. And so I get to work independently. My work area is always quiet. Even when I'm in an office, I'm able to keep a quiet work area, which I don't want anybody else to make noise. I can make noise, but nobody else can. And, exactly. And like I said, now I get to work from home. So I'm working at my own pace and I work independently. And once you show that you're able to meet those deadlines, your employer will be able to let you work very independently. You may not be able to work remotely, but you would be able to work independently. Unfortunately, I have had some managers that were, micromanagers, but for the most part, nobody wants to read government documents. They don't want to read it. And they don't want to read my paper that is responding to this government document, because it could be a response that ranges from 5 pages to 300 pages. I remember one time we worked on this bid for NASA, and we ended up, I had to do the technical writing for that. It was a facilities maintenance proposal. I had no idea how plumbing worked, how electrical worked, none of that. I had no idea. So I had to interview people in order to develop a response. 300 pages long. But nobody stood over me. I was trusted enough to get my work done, and that was it. And so those are the main things that I like. I like that you can advance in this career. I like that there is stability in this career. Again, it's hands-off. I'm able to work independently, and it's rewarding. If you're a competitive person, there's yes, there's nothing more satisfying when you win. And a lot of companies, when you win these proposals, they reward you with a bonus.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the financial, I did mention some of the salaries earlier, a few moments ago, but there's also a lot of financial rewards with this type of industry. So, I'd say go for it. I will have to, let you guys know that it is a white male dominated industry, but it is changing. So starting to see a lot more females in business development, a lot more minorities in business development. But there may be, sometimes when, you might be the only woman in the room. For the ladies that are on the call, there may be times that you're the only minority, Black or Hispanic person in the room. So those are some things you have to consider. But, girl power.
That's what I'm talking about.
Exactly.
So with all this being said, how do you manage your time?
And I'm glad you said that. So you have to have really good time management skills, because again, if you miss those deadlines, then you may as well just say, go ahead and pack your desk up for that day, pack your office up, and that's it for you. Because they are not going to, the government is
serious?
Yes, ma'am. If the government says that you need to turn in your response Friday afternoon at 3, if you're there Friday afternoon at 3:05, that's a no. And if you don't get it in there, your company, it's your responsibility. So your employer might be like, you didn't meet your deadline, so we have to let you go. So you have to make sure you follow those deadlines and manage your time well. I've always been kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm an avid planner. So I can be a little spontaneous at times, but for the most part, I kind of plan everything from A to Z. My OCD takes over in some parts, and I think that's one of the reasons why this job has been a blessing for me. But you have to make sure that you manage your time. There are the days where you may not seem like you have a lot of work to do, or you think, oh, I only have one assignment. I'll just, it's not due until 3 weeks from now. I can just take it easy today. You take it easy today, but then you may have another assignment or 2 to be given to you the next day. And so where you kind of goofed off or slacked up a little bit on day 3, now here you are on day 4, and you've got 3 things that are due in a week. So you kind of want to make sure that you're constantly pacing yourself to get your work done in order to stay on top or ahead of your schedule.
Right. What is there a quote that motivates you?
There is a quote by Maya Angelou, and I have it on my LinkedIn page, and I want to make sure I read it correctly. I think it says something to the effect, if you're always trying to be normal, you're never going to know how amazing you could be. Let
Wow.
me read it directly. It says, if you are always trying to be normal, you will never know how amazing you can be.
Yeah.
And I love that, I
That's
love
deep.
her. It is. And, I think back, for me, Beaumont was the norm.
Right.
Teaching school was the norm.
Right.
Getting up and going to Antioch every Sunday, that was the norm.
Right.
And there's nothing at all that's wrong with that. But I knew that there was something else outside of me being normal, you know? And so that's why that when I read that, it stuck with me,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm like, yeah, I'm normal and there's nothing wrong with being normal, but what else can I do?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why I set out to do something different.
Wow, that's awesome. That's
Well,
awesome.
thank you.
I just love Maya Angelou and her writing. Um, what would you like to say to people who want to see even moving someplace else and trying to get into another workplace? What would you tell them about just get up and go, follow your dream?
Hmm. My thing is, you only live once.
Yeah.
You
I
have
can't,
one.
I think my dream gone. Too old to follow a dream. I just go ahead.
We have one life to live, and that's it.
Yeah.
And we need to make sure during our lifetime that we honor God, we honor our family, establish those good relationships with our family, with our friends, with our coworkers. And that doesn't mean you have to be best friends with everybody. Just
Right.
honor the relationship and be good to people. And you have to ask yourself, are you happy? A lot of times we're trying to figure out how someone else can make us happy, but you have to learn how to make yourself happy and be happy within you. I know when I taught school, I would show up for work and I would sit in my car. I think I had to be there for 8:10, and I get there at like 7:45, and I would sit in my car until 8:30 because I didn't want to go in.
You gotta be there for 18.
Exactly.
And
So
there's
majority of the time I was late for work.
you think?
So, I would just say to everyone, you only have one life, and, put God first, and the things that you have desires that you want to try different things and do something different. You have to believe in yourself. And sometimes the best thing for you to do is not to share your dream with other people.
Wait a minute. Hold up. Say that one more time.
The best thing for you to do, the best thing for you to do is not share your dream with others. Because here's why. When you share your dream with other people, then they're going to hold you accountable to that dream. And so you might take some steps, and it may not be the path God has for you, and it doesn't work out. And instead of them being in your corner, they're like, oh, I thought you were supposed to do X, Y, Z. I thought you were going to Timbuktu. I don't tell people my business. And if I'm going to make a move and make some changes in my life, I pray about it. I write down my pros and cons, and I figure it out myself. There may be someone that you want to go to where you have a trusting relationship with that person and you can talk things through with that. That's wonderful. I'm not knocking that. But for getting on social media and, telling everybody that you want to do this or that, I would recommend that you don't do that. Keep it as private as possible and prepare yourself. Research the areas, research the industry. You may want to stay in Beaumont, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's your normal, and that's what you want to do. But research the industries that are there that you think you want to get into so that you can understand what experience you need, what training you need, what certifications you need, in order to get your foot through the door. And I know it's really hard to, save money at times. I was a single parent, so I understand that completely. I taught school in Beaumont, and I think my highest salary before I left was like $44,000 a year. And we all know that's not a lot of money, especially when you're raising a kid and you're trying to pay all of your bills and have your car and he needs a car. So, I get all of that, but whatever you can do to save your money so that you can make your move, I would encourage you to do it. If I would have never worked summer school and saved money those years, there's no way I would have been able to afford to take that leap of faith and leave. And if I had not networked with people in a professional setting, I would not have made any connections. And, I would have landed in Baltimore, just looking around. Green.
What's next?
Exactly. I always think about, what was that movie that Denzel Washington was in, where he played the criminal that was married to Miss Puerto Rico, and he had gone to prison. I can't think of the name of that movie at all. But anyway, when he finally got out of prison, at the end of the movie, he had been in jail, I want to say like 15 or 20 years. And they released him, and the world has changed completely. They were playing like Can't Trust It by Flavor Flav and his crew. And he was just standing there with his little bag of belongings out in New York City, looking at these people walking by with cell phones and stuff. And he's like, what? This is not what the world looked like. So that's how I would have looked had I not prepared. And there are mistakes. I did learn some things that, along the way. I did make some mistakes. It wasn't perfect. But as much research as you possibly can do, as many connections as you possibly can do prior to making the move, I would recommend you doing it.
Yeah. There's a lady on here that wants to say hi to you. She says her name is Cassandra Perkins LeBlanc.
Hi, darling.
She says,
how are you?
Ruth, I'm so proud of you. So
thank you.
Okay, so with that being said, the clock on the wall says it's time for us to get on out of here. Ruth, I've been knowing you for a long time.
Mm-hmm. About 42 years, I think.
Just about. Always love you guys. Always love you guys. I remember you guys, y'all used to just laugh at me and my family, especially my older sister.
Yes.
But I always love you, and I always knew that you were going places, And
thank you.
With that being said, I'm so proud of you and the progress that you've made in your life.
Thank you.
So I'm gonna still bother you. I don't care what you say.
Exactly. And I'm still gonna be the same person because the quicker you rise, the quicker you fall. So I'm not walking around like I'm better than anybody else,
I have a girlfriend on here. She says everybody is my niece and my nephew and everything, but she doesn't know that when we were at fellowship, what did y'all call me? What did y'all call me?
Aunt Deborah.
That's right, and they still call me. Everybody I know, wherever I went, they've always called me Aunt Deborah. So Cheryl Chambers.
So if I can, so thank you, Miss Rose. I love you. So I have to admit, I'm camera shy, and some of you I've been connected with on Facebook or whatever, and I no longer have Facebook. And I just don't, I'm too easy to find. So I don't really like being on camera and all of that. But I am going to come off for a moment to say hello to everybody.
I didn't come out for the longest.
Yes. And so
look, Fanny say, hey, yes, Auntie.
Exactly.
I've been trying to get her to come out for the longest. Ever since she came on, I've been trying to get her to come out. I'm glad you came out. But you have done such a marvelous work in your life.
Well, thank you.
I think I even tried to keep you to stay here in Beaumont when you told me you were going to leave, and now you said, "Go."
Can't do it. I love y'all, but no.
Oh, here's another lady that you might know if you know her. She says, "Hello, Lisa. Great job. You are my
Yes!
brother."
Toast! Hello there. Oh gosh, so good to see you on here. Love you as well. Oh my goodness.
Oh,
All these nice people. Sandy, Rosa, Miss Holmes. I love you guys.
Yeah. So we're gonna have to cut off because I cut off at 7:30. Well, you don't have to, but I'll do it anyway. But we're gonna be talking, and there's some things I really, really need to talk to you about anyway. So privately, thank my viewers for coming on tonight. And if it wasn't for you, there would be no Blue Table Talk. And I appreciate you guys, and I hope you guys had a blessed new year that came into here. 2021. We're gonna pray that it be a whole lot better than 2020, because we did do a lot of stuff in 2020. But God is still in control. Whatever He says is done. Cheryl Chambers says awesome podcast. So we got to go by what God says, and that's the only spirit that I lead by. So with that being said, my motto is, if I can help somebody, if I pass along this way, then I know that my living is not in vain. God bless you guys. God keep you is my prayer. And I'll see you next week. It will be part 2 of mental illness. So tune in next week. We'll have LaShonda Martin out of Georgia with us, and she's going to talk about mental illness. We had part 1 with Linda Clark, so now we're going to part 2. So spread the word, and let's keep the podcast on. And God bless you, like I said, and God keep you. Smooches, guys.
Smooches, love you.